Snacks we had as children, like when we had games or stuff like that, it was like oranges. And now what were they bringing? Like fruit by the foot and Capri Sun.
Capri Sun's huge.
Bars.
Yeah, but like
good,
what did we get? I don't even think we had water. Like you were just SOL. You got like sliced oranges.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of my soccer teams were the orange slicers because the parents would always bring orange slices.
So then when we show up to one of the games and we're the treat parents and we've got orange slices, we were like total losers. Remember that?
Yeah, they were like pissed.
I was like,
what
where's
is
my
this
fruit by the foot?
But like, to be honest, me and you could get away with that because we're like around 200 pounds and have like around 100 pounds of muscle. They're like 50 pounds. And like, honestly, just giving them all that sugar is not it's just not a good idea.
It's just stacking the deck against all these kids growing up.
Yeah.
Like really badly.
Yeah. Definitely. So times have changed.
Yeah. Well, we're recording now, by the way.
Awesome.
Oh.
So
spectacular.
3, 2, 1, and go. Biceps and Bullets, episode 4. We are over the average right now. So this is
over the average.
One episode above the average for people that do podcasting. Most people quit after 3. I wanted to quit today after 3 because I was so pissed at this computer.
We won't talk about what happened earlier.
I was pulling hair out. So mad. I bought a mixer and some higher end stuff, and I cannot get the components to work together because of my lack of computer skills.
Dude, you just got to pay those people at wherever you got it. Like, where'd you get it?
I got it at Sweetwater.
You just got to freaking give it to them and be like, hey, like, show me how to do this.
I'll take the hit on it because I should have brought all my gear out to them. And instead, I just tried to explain it to them, and I missed some stuff. So they did the best they could. It was Matt.
Yeah.
So Matt hooked me up, and then he came over to the house and tried to set it up, and was like, "Dude, we're missing some stuff here." So totally my fault, but it doesn't make it any less frustrating.
That's when we pull the trigger and we just buy the fancy setup.
Yeah.
Because we're over.
Or throw it all out
now.
in the front yard.
Since we're over the average.
We're over the average. That means we're pros now.
Now you need to get good ratings on iTunes and all that.
Yes.
Right. So
go to iTunes. Give us a 5-star review.
Yeah.
And go to CrossFitTacticalStrength.com and sign up for the newsletter.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right.
Awesome.
Totally
Excellent.
professional now.
And
professional
in the iTunes
podcasters.
description, can you post like the articles and the videos that I'm going to reference to?
Yeah, that'll probably require me doing show notes, which is more work.
Okay.
But yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome.
So with us today, new lineup, different lineup. So this is like the Avengers after Age of Ultron. So I'm still here. With us is Bethany.
Hey there.
A.K.A. my wife. And if you hear screaming, we have John Paul, the baby's in the car seat right next to us. And then the 2 larger hooligans are in the kid room / cage area of the gym. So, and we are interviewing our guest today, Austin Whisler. Austin, introduce yourself, sir.
Hey guys, so my name is Austin Whisler. I just got smacked by one of their workouts that they had programmed. But I've been doing CrossFit for like 3 years. I met these guys at Prouse earlier, and then now they have their own gym. But I'm a health fitness specialist at IU. I'm going to be a senior. Health fitness specialist is kind of like exercise science, except it's a little bit more geared towards like prescribing exercise rather than like pre-physical therapy or occupational therapy. So that's kind of the reason why I chose it, because I want to like do stuff like kind of like how you guys do, except like in the hospital setting for diabetics and like for the doctors and for the nurses. So corporate health. So I'm also like a Superhuman Network Coach. That's done through Ben Greenfield.
That sounds awesome, by the way. That is superhuman.
Yeah. Right
I
there.
network for the Avengers and the X-Men.
Yeah. If you have Superhuman or like Bulletproof or next to anything, like you're gonna click on it.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yep.
So like Ben Greenfield.
It doesn't hurt that you kind of look superhuman too. Maybe like Supermanish.
I try to.
All right.
So Ben Greenfield is the guy that started. He was the 2008 NSCA personal trainer of the year. He kind of like did a little bit of a role reversal there. He like kind of reevaluated some of the stuff that he did and like got a little bit more into that like high intensity stuff, and like he's also like a big like ketosis guy. But I learned a lot of stuff through him, like about like fat loss, recovery. There was like 2-hour modules and everything, so like it was a good learning experience. And like I honestly have learned more in like situations like at a box or like through articles and like mentors and this kind of stuff than I have like in school. But like
that's always the
I
case.
don't know.
Yeah,
that is always the case, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what
Experience.
field you're going into, you're going to learn more from people that are doing it, and then like maybe one or two professors throughout your career in college. But yeah, the guys out there doing hands-on internships, practicals, always learn more.
And I'm also your guys' kids' swim instructors.
And they adore you.
That's probably the most important one of them.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so another thing is I'm a type 1 diabetic. I've had that for 4 years. I got that my junior year of high school, like right after wrestling season. I literally was like peeing like a river every single time. So like, it literally just evolved to the point where I was going to the bathroom every 30 minutes. And I had to like get my notebook signed in high school. And like my pee was like yellow. Everything that I was eating like literally just went right through me. Like I lost weight, and like I wrestled at 140 that year, and like I was like at 138 whenever I got diagnosed like in the hospital.
Yeah.
And like so like after that, like I really just had to like do my research and like you know just like I had just had to go through the grind of like figuring out like how I can recover. And like honestly, just the way to go was just kind of like not treating anything different. Kind of like finding the way that worked for me. Like I still do shots. Like I don't have the pump, even though a lot of people do, because like they're saying like, hey, if the shots are working for you, like, you know, don't try to fix something that's already like working. So
Right.
I'm gonna give a few things about like diabetics and like how they can, you know, have better consistent blood sugars. Like an A1C is like the measurement of what your blood sugar has been for like 4 months.
That's
So
definitely that's one of the tests, like say Rob Wolf or any of these other guys.
They recommend everybody does that.
Yeah, everybody get their A1C tested.
Yeah, you can do it at like Walgreens. I think for like a cheap, I mean, you can get a cheap little system just like you can get a glucometer. Yeah.
Okay.
But basically, so like it measures like your red blood cells for the past 4 months, and like it can track like what the sugars have been. So like a scale is like if you're below 7, that's good, or if you're above that, like that's not very good. Like so, like whenever I was diagnosed, like I was like maybe like an 11 or like a 13 or something crazy, and like my blood sugar was like unreadable. So like it was above 500, and like
Whoa.
for me a 70 to 120 is average. So like
Yeah. 500.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's
Yeah.
very high.
Yeah. Wow.
Hence the muscle breakdown going into
Yeah.
my urine and my farts being called also flatus. Literally, my farts were carbs expelling out of my butt.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah,
That's gross.
there's some
Yeah.
crazy stuff. Yeah, like diabetic ketoacidosis, all that stuff.
Right.
Like
So
it's crazy.
ketoacidosis. That's the negative thing that happens to diabetics.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes. So just to make that distinction between something we're going to
Ketoacidosis and ketosis. Those
Yes.
are different.
Yes, so those are
Yes.
very different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Awesome. Make that distinction now, and then we won't have to later.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I thought you had that for a lot longer for some reason. That was your junior year of high school?
Yep.
So that was a drastic shift. That had to have been. Like
It
all your sports and everything leading up to that, you get used to being a regular, high school kid, and all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah. I mean, it was, but it wasn't. Like, it was kind of weird because the year prior, one of my mentors who was like a wrestler at Carroll, his name's Brock Norton, I kind of just like adored him. I don't think he really knew very much about me, but like he got diagnosed with diabetes in the middle of his season. He was ranked like 3rd at like 135 in the IHSA wrestling tournament. He won the semi-state. He had like low blood sugars. He had like 2 breaks in between, and like he handled it really well because one of the moms is a CDE, a certified diabetes educator.
Oh, okay.
He ended up handling it really well, and he won the state finals. But then kind of something pretty crazy with that is like he went to wrestle at Purdue, and he ended up having to withdraw just because like the grind of wrestling and what it just like totally gets to you. So like something about being a diabetic, like your skin is super sensitive. So like wrestlers, as you know, get skin diseases.
Yeah.
I got skin diseases literally like easy. Like I literally had to wear long sleeves and like compression shorts or pants every single wrestling practice, or else like I might get a skin disease. Like I've had ringworm. I haven't had MRSA. I've had like all that stuff, but this is kind of gross. We'll get a little bit more applicable.
If
That's
you've
something I
wrestled-
wasn't aware of, though, that diabetics got skin diseases much more easily.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't know that
I wasn't
either.
aware of
Immune
that.
system just weaker in general.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
That makes sense. But yeah, then wrestling on top of that.
So then something that's like a common distinction is like a lot of people don't know what type 1 is, and like they're like, okay, you're not fat. Like I don't get it. Like I see your arms, like you're not like, how are you different than my grandma who has diabetes? So like type 2 diabetics are what's called like insulin resistant, and
Correct.
type 1 are insulin dependent. So like my pancreas, I'm a little bit of an anomaly. Your basically type 1s, their pancreas doesn't function hardly at all. The beta cells are dead because your body basically attacks them for whatever reason we don't know exactly. So basically my body doesn't really make very much insulin. Type 2 diabetics, your body makes your pancreas is cranking out plenty of insulin, but you're just resistant to that. So the glucose kind of just stays outside the cell, and the insulin's kind of like the key to the cell, and that's kind of like, with how much sugar you're pounding down, like that's just like the ultimate problem, like with type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, there's nowhere to go except for get stored.
Yep.
And then you get fat.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Awesome.
So then one of the things that Rob Wolf said on a podcast, he said like type 2 diabetics, like for them like to inject a whole bunch of insulin is kind of like going to the tanning bed for someone who already has skin cancer. And I think that's like a really funny way of like alluding to that, but like it's very true. Like
The first time I heard that, yeah, I laughed because I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true.
Yeah, so definitely like I will mention this video done by like a Purdue professor. Maybe we can post it in the comments, maybe not. I can give the gist of it right now. Basically, she just said like how the American Diabetes Association says that, hey, like you should have like a lot of carbs, not very much protein or fat, and like that's just like a yo-yo way of like, just going around like give yourself a shot, eat a whole bunch of carbs, wait, blood sugar goes up, goes down, eat again. Treat the low like with orange juice, all this stuff, like a whole bunch of just sugar. So like what this girl does, she's a doctor. She basically just prescribes like a high-fat diet, moderate protein, lower carb, and like it's just super effective. And like honestly, she doesn't get why like that's not what ADA recommends, but they're just like 10 years behind it. And
So the ADA is
not
recommending high-carb diet.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're just basically treating the symptoms, not the entire individual. So it's like just treat the immediate symptom with all these carbs, and then that'll make you feel better for a little bit, and then all of a sudden you're going to go through that whole cycle again.
Yeah. And something that we'll talk about later is like someone who has like, let's say, a high body fat. Like I'm not going to throw out a number, but like if you have high body fat, like you have to earn those carbs. So like eating all those carbs, like it's just going to put you in a deeper hole.
Yeah. So the way that they're treating, the ADA is saying to treat diabetes is the exact same way then they treat women who have gestational diabetes.
Yeah.
When in fact the same protocol that you mentioned, the doctor from Purdue, Purdue, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the same protocol like a woman with gestational diabetes should take as well.
Yeah.
So, we're just kind of wrong all over the place.
Yeah.
So.
Be a good consumer.
Yeah, right?
I had another question and I lost it.
Uh-oh. Oh,
Every
no.
time.
I'm
Every
looking
time.
for it. Rob,
What was it about?
hurry,
I can
find
talk.
it.
I can talk about diabetes, but I want to talk about some superhuman stuff that I learned from Ben
Okay,
Greenfield.
superhumans are.
Yeah. So
You're
Dave-
already superhuman, just doing what you do with diabetes. I mean, like I think the first time I found all that out about you, I was like, man, that's impressive because you're a high achieving, CrossFitter, especially for a guy your age, and then to put the other layer of stuff on top of it is pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, anytime you deal with one more adversity, whether it's, you're Nick Forey with kids and a third shift job, finishing 6th at the games, or, more everyday CrossFitter for now.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you've got all these other issues that you've been dealing with and handling it really well. That's why we want to talk to you. You've just got another point and another view to present information. And all of it's very similar. The stuff we're talking about today is it's going to seem a little bit more in-depth, and in some ways it is, because of the special circumstances that you've been dealing with it with the diabetes. But know that until you get your base figured out with your macros,
Right.
just like we were talking about a few minutes ago,
Yeah.
You got no business doing all this stuff because you'll probably mention that carb backloading.
Yeah, definitely. If you don't have your food quality on point, you've never tracked your macros, you can't eat 3 square meals a day and some snacks and have it all squared away, then you really don't have any business trying to manipulate anything yet.
Yeah.
You got to get your 1, 2, and 3 ABC all lined up before you can go any further.
Like Greg Glassman says, attack the base of the pyramid, nutrition first, and then like if you're talking about diet, that should be macro should be the nutrition, like the bottom of that pyramid, and then like get into that nutrient timing, supplementation, like that kind of stuff.
Right.
Biohacking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So tell us more about Ben Greenfield and stuff you learned from him.
Okay. Stuff that I learned from Ben Greenfield. So I learned a lot about like recovery, and I think that's like a big thing that I want to like hit on with CrossFitters. Like, I'll just get right into it. Like, I'm all about application and all that stuff. So, some of the stuff that he talked about is like, carb backloading. Like, that is a good idea.
Yeah.
But the term is necessarily a little bit not as descriptive as it needs to be. Like,
maybe a little misleading.
Wherever you're working out, that's where your fuel needs to be, because carbs are fuel. So like, you need to have some sort of fuel. Like, it could be carbs and like a little bit of like protein and fat beforehand, and then like more afterwards. Like, I think something that's really efficacious is like branched chain amino acids and like a rice cake with some peanut butter and like strawberry jelly beforehand, and then post workout like 30 grams of dextrose. And the kids are loud.
Kids, no big deal.
So like 30 grams of protein afterwards and carbs, because like if you're doing exhaustive exercise like CrossFit, like your muscle breakdown, this is something from like Charles Poliquin and I can include, it's like 60 to 70%. So like you really need to like tap into that anabolic. So, like, you need to be anabolic as soon as you can. And having those amino acids beforehand, I mean, they're cheap. You can get, like you guys said, like you use Nutriforce. You can use, I mean, your box probably should sell them. Like, so having those amino acids in there in your bloodstream, like before you work out, like it's going to have those building blocks floating around in your system right away. So like it'll help those muscles rebuild.
And that's stuff that bodybuilders have done for years.
Yeah.
How many times you go to the Y and see the big dude doing bench for like 45 minutes straight with a big can of blue something or other, just sipping on the whole time. Like, those are all amino acids, and that's something that we need to pay attention to those communities and take the good from everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
And when you're talking about, just getting some kind of a fuel in your body ahead of time, I know I mentioned it before, but we have some members that struggle with that. Like, they don't want to work out on an empty stomach, but maybe they train early in the morning and they don't want to eat something too big. Like, like you said, a rice cake, that's not it's not a boatload of carbs.
Dense.
It's not dense.
Yeah.
It's something quick and easy they can get in. I always kind of give the recommendation, like maybe like 15 grams of carbs, 15 grams of proteins. Get it in there, kind of have a little energy, get your blood sugar up a little bit. Yeah. And
then if you can handle it, like something like power oatmeal, Ben Greenfield calls it in one of his YouTube videos. It's just like a couple packets of oatmeal with like extra cinnamon to help like that stabilize that blood sugar, because it lowers the gastric emptying into your stomach. And then like some raisins and like some like vanilla protein powder in there. It's good, and like that's something that I really like.
I'm
to
really
have.
hungry right now, so that sounds delicious.
That's like the exact same thing I used to do at St. Francis before winter workouts. I would take something like that all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know what it was. I didn't think about it. I was just like, man, this seems like a good idea.
Quick little side note, you mentioned the bodybuilders. So for the diabetics that are listening, something that you can do to be anabolic, this is a little bit more risky. Okay, so insulin is anabolic. Okay, so if you're having a whole bunch of carbs, it's anabolic. Anabolic meaning you will grow. So like it could be muscle.
Any kind of growth.
It could be fat.
Right.
So they inject a whole bunch of insulin.
They do
during the workouts or post workout, and then they have like all those. They have like a whole bunch of dextrose, and literally your muscles are just going to soak up that protein.
Yep.
That's like something I did that.
Do.
I did that.
See, but you're allowed to have the insulin. I'm pretty sure they're not supposed to have the insulin. So
are you talking about type 2?
I'm talking about bodybuilders.
Oh, yeah. That's illegal.
Yeah, so there's that whole issue.
No.
So this is not for normal people. This is for diabetics.
Right.
Yeah.
Who have the insulin.
Legally,
it's okay.
So something that I did senior year, my brother told me about this, Josh. Both my brothers are geeks about this. I did this post-workout thing with like a whole bunch of creatine and like carbs and protein in it. I literally gained like 15 pounds like throughout the cycle that I did that, and like I gained a significant amount of muscle, and like I still do that to this day. But like I really like right now, like I just forgot to have dextrose and I don't have it right now. Like sometimes like I just go home and like it doesn't need to be right after, but like I mean the evidence is still like kind of out there because like the studies that are done on like this kind of stuff, a lot of it's like stupid stuff. It's like 4 sets of like max leg extensions, and then like let's see how insulin sensitive you are. Like that's the kind of stuff that's happening at IU, like from my exercise physiology class. Like
because that imitates like a typical workout for a person. Yeah.
No.
For a regular person.
For a regular person too. Yeah.
So like definitely like the studies can vary widely. Like you need to have it be a muscle exhaustive workout, and then like you can have those carbs afterwards if you earn them and you're not a high body fat person.
Got to make sure you're putting the intensity into the workouts to warrant having the post workout carbohydrates for sure.
Yeah.
Not just like
now. That's not to say you shouldn't have any.
No,
say
no,
you're
no,
like,
no, no.
I didn't go 110,000% in the workout today. But still do your carbs.
Maybe you don't need
afterwards.
dextrose.
But maybe you don't need dextrose. Maybe just the regular shake is good enough.
Yeah.
Something also with that is like whenever you eat a whole bunch of carbs, it makes your body. There's a hormone called serotonin. Having that serotonin in your body is gonna like basically just like it's gonna make you like you're gonna be like restful and you're gonna be like digesting your food. So it's kind of like. There's two nervous systems in your body. There's the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. The sympathetic is like your fight or flight. Like if there's like a lion, like holy crap, like your body's cranking out epinephrine, norepinephrine, like your body's ready to go. Cortisol, you are hyped. Parasympathetic, rest, digest. You're just like you just went to the Chinese buffet. You're just gonna like chillax. And like that's where like the serotonin comes into it. Yes.
Yeah.
So like the serotonin, whenever you have a whole bunch of those carbs, it's gonna help you like also keep that. Biorhythm, and like you're going to be able to go to sleep and like
then when you're sleeping
recover.
You get that good recovery in. Yep. And that's where like if you want to talk carb backloading, so having a decent amount of carbohydrate in the evening after you train, it should warrant then really great amazing sleep,
more restful recovery,
sleep.
And really when you start from a neuropsychological standpoint, serotonin, norepinephrine, those are all neurotransmitters that they put in SSRIs. So go figure, exercise, good nutrition will help you with depression and anxiety.
Exactly. That's often a prescription that they will pair maybe with like an SSRI or another drug, and exercise, activity, get up, move for people with anxiety, depression. Way to go.
So something else that like just because you mentioned like the neuroendocrine response that you get from exercise, like there's a lot of interesting information out there, but like CrossFit's only put a little bit out there. I'm going to attach one of the articles that's with this. Like there's a couple from Breaking Muscle. They have a lot of really good quality information, like T-Nation kind of, but CrossFit.
Yeah.
Right.
So it talks about the neuroendocrine response that you're going to get from like doing a whole bunch of like you're going to lift heavy weights and you're going to do like high intensity interval training. Essentially, like that's what CrossFit is.
Correct.
So, like, there's a lot of really good benefits that you get from that, like your insulin sensitivity, like your testosterone response for guys. Like there's a lot of really cool stuff, and, like, I like, it's a very complex article, but, like, I'll attach that, and, like, basically the neuroendocrine response that you get from exercise is, like, really crazy. But, like, if I were to throw out a couple other really, like, important 5, like recovery tips, like, I'll say them right now. Okay, so, Anthony, do you take creatine?
Yes.
Okay. Do you take creatine?
Not currently. I'm nursing a baby right now, so I'm choosing to only use whey protein.
I've been telling her to take more creatine.
Let's get the baby jacked.
I don't know about that.
That kind of makes sense.
But taking creatine is really important, and like it's the most research supplement out there. You need to take it. Like 5 grams before, 5 grams after.
Yep.
But
I know we've both been taking it since college. I mean, men, women, everybody.
Back when they said it would make your kidneys stop.
Yeah,
don't take creatine.
No, it won't. But like one of the things that if I have a nutritionist, whenever I go see my doctor for diabetes every 3 to 6 months, like they say don't take it because a lot of the dietitians, they just think from their books, they remember creatinine. And creatinine is what it's completely different. Like they don't know, like it's crazy. Like honestly, do your research and like take creatine. But then like if I were to say some other stuff that like you really need to do, like let's say you got done with like a whole bunch of heavy back squatting and like you did back squats in a workout, like a whole bunch of squats in a workout and that kind of stuff. Like it's really important to like rumble roll afterwards, like 2 minutes on each one of your like quads. Like I think beforehand it's really good to like floss. And then like other things are like a contrast shower, like where you go like 10 seconds of hot water in 20 seconds of cold water for like 3 to 5 rounds.
Did you listen to the Tim Ferriss episode with Rick Rubin?
No.
Oh,
You should.
It's really good. Everybody should listen to that.
Listen to
Rick
that
Rubin is
one.
a crazy, awesome human being. But they were in a sauna. What'd they get up to, like almost 200 degrees?
Yeah, so they were
maybe
alternating
hotter.
like sauna with
Hot sauna.
with cold plunge.
Doing the interview in the sauna.
Yeah.
The mics are like on fire.
We'll do that
Crazy.
next time. You guys want to do that next time?
Sure.
okay.
We're going to find a sauna and then an ice tub.
Where's your dad? Come on.
Side
Dad has a
note,
sauna.
Dmitry Klokov, after every single workout, he goes like in a sauna, I'm pretty sure, for like 30 minutes.
Really?
Man.
He's a mutant.
He's not human. Yeah, I agree.
Substances?
Hey, now, we're not accusing anyone.
Hey, it's Russia. It's okay.
Oh, okay.
But then something else that I did, like I followed OPT during the Open just because like I thought like at this time I'm not going to get much better. I'm not going to get much stronger. Like I do the Invictus comp log. So like I went to OPT. They don't put the workouts on their site anymore. They actually went to like exclusive online training.
Yeah.
Which kind of stinks. But
Is what it is.
yeah. So like I did all of their programming during the Open in like 2 weeks leading up to it, and like something that they always had to do after the Open workouts is 15 minutes of zone 1 cardio. So like that's like basically just conversational pace.
Yep.
Getting that heart rate down, recovering. I think that's something really important. Like
I think a lot of people
if you hit a
neglect
hard
that.
workout,
We
you need to cool down.
Yeah, we don't have time a lot of times. Like we're cramming so much shit into a class that it's a major adaptation area to not do that, and you just kind of have to count on your athletes in a way to take that cool down time on their own.
Yeah, I mean, even just a couple laps around the block.
Yep.
Yeah,
for sure.
something.
Like it doesn't have to be like airdyne is always their favorite, so I always hit airdyning. But like it could be row, it could be stretching, it could be like a little bit of a circuit. Like it doesn't need to be much. Like,
Something to down-regulate.
Yes, you
Yes.
need to get that heart rate down because like one of the most stupid things I ever did was 2 years ago. I went and did Murph, and then I drove home immediately, and I went in lifeguard and like sat in a chair.
Yeah.
Oh,
And literally
my.
for like a week, like my biceps and my quads were just like wrecked because like I just recovered really crappy, and like I was out in the sun for 10 hours that day.
Yep.
Like it was ridiculous.
Yep, that was my whole life from 2010 to 2012.
Yeah,
I would
drive
go and
yourself to a
work,
competition.
getting ready for regionals and Open and stuff like that. And then I would go right into a squad car because I would want to get as much time under a bar as I could. So I would totally skip that last part.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't recover, and I would go right into a squad car, and I would stay right in that fight or flight for hours, and I would never recover. And then that dug me a huge hole from 2012, 2013 after regionals until just recently. I mean, it took a good 2 years to recover.
So I'm a Superhuman Network coach. Like Ben Greenfield, any extra people that he has, he gives to me, and like I give them I write their exercise prescription. I give them tips on fat loss and that kind of stuff. So like if I were to give like 3 examples like right away off of that, like I would say obviously the zone 1, but like if cardio like afterwards. But if you can't do that, like I would say something that's like really effective is like I'm wearing compression pants right now. Wear compression pants and like compression socks. That will help circulate that blood
Definitely
in your
does
legs
help.
like
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
I
I
know
was
you
on a
do that.
huge kick. I
Yeah,
didn't recover
I was
for
gonna
crap,
say, you
but I
did
really
wear
liked
them.
compression gear.
And wearing it under your uniform.
I would wear that
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would just cramp like crazy.
I think ladies, we wear a lot of spandex.
We're all
No,
okay, we're all okay with that.
Ladies have it right, honestly. Like the jury's still out on wearing it during your workouts. Like all those triathletes that are still wearing them during these like long things. Like it's not. That's what Ben told me. But like if you're sitting around, like if you're at school the entire day and like you go and work out at 3 and basically you've done nothing but like maybe like walk to class, like you need to like doing that will help. Like it literally just compression gear compresses your skin, your blood vessels and that kind of stuff. So like it causes it makes your blood flow. It makes your blood work harder in order to circulate back up to your heart, which helps recovery. So like it's pretty simple stuff. Like I don't know if I explained that exactly perfect.
No,
but
that made sense to me.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
there's not a lot to it.
Yeah.
It helps your lymphatic system too. It can kind of squish
Yes.
everything back up, boost
Yeah.
that big time.
That's the other thing I forgot. Yeah.
Yep.
Excellent.
So then like another thing was like, okay, if you're gonna be in the car,
We'll edit that out. We'll edit that pause out.
So
That
like
was
if
not
you're
that bad.
if you're gonna be at if you're going to be in the car for like 6 hours, I know a whole bunch of cops are probably going to listen to this. Like, you probably,
Maybe.
like, Ben
Maybe 2 or 3.
Ben says that, like, every hour that you should get up and, like, do something for, like, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, I know also Tim Ferriss says something about that. Okay, so, like, there's a lot of reasons to do that. There's recovery. It, like, also, like, it'll make you stronger. Like, if you've heard the term greasing the groove, like, Pavel Satsulin, something weird.
Don't even
Yeah.
try the last name. Just say Pavel. Everybody knows what you're talking about.
Pavel.
Yeah,
It's
he
cool.
popularized that. So, like, something like with a whole bunch, like, it doesn't need to be anything like really athletic. Like, it could just be like air squats, band pull aparts, sit-ups, like, you know, that kind of stuff. Like, 4 Hour Body has a whole bunch of stuff on that, but, like, also another thing that it does is, like, it helps your GLUT4 transportation, which is another thing that, like, acts similar to glucose, which will help get that glucose instead of being floating around having that high blood sugar, thus getting you fatter. It will go into your body and you will recover better
And
less
not be fat.
And not be
be
fat.
superhuman.
Be superhuman.
Superhuman, just not fat.
Can I be She-Hulk?
She-Hulk?
Please.
She's pretty good.
Okay.
Difference between Hulk and She-Hulk.
She's a girl.
Well, obviously.
She's purple?
She keeps her higher brain function while she's in Hulk form.
Ooh. Well, she is a woman.
Oh.
Oh, burn.
Yeah, I set that one up.
Sorry.
Hulk's still better. So you want to talk about jogging.
Okay, yeah, I'll talk about that. Poliquin has a really cool article. I will post that, but basically, like, it just talked about, like, the conflicting things that happen in your body if you're trying to get stronger, but then, like, if you run at in the same workout, like, so, like, I will post that article with this, but basically it just does that. Like, it's conflicting. So, like, it's a good example of, like, how people really work their aerobic system and, like, getting stronger in the same day is, like, something like Chris Hinshaw does. So, like, he prescribes people to do these workouts, like, 4 hours in between their CrossFit workouts. So, like, an example of what Chris Hinshaw does is he works on getting your maximum sustainable pace increased. So, like, a whole bunch of intervals, very little rest, like walking in between, like, but, like, it's pretty hard stuff. So, like, one of the examples that he did, he talked about Rich Froning and, like, how this past year, I think, Rich Froning reached out to him and Hinshaw tested him. So, like, I will give this as an example, and it's pretty cool. So, like, Rich Froning, the two things that he does, it tests, like, your anaerobic threshold and your aerobic threshold. He has you run a 400-meter max effort. Then, I don't know if it's on the same day or if it's, like, different days, but then a mile as fast
effort?
as you can.
That sounds really not fun
Yeah.
at all.
Sounds like a blast.
For you.
It sounds awful.
I think that'd be awesome.
You
That
would
sounds
say
awful.
that.
So, he said actually Rich had one of the worst scores he's ever seen. Like,
Really?
literally, he had the worst score. Next was Jason Kalipa before he started, like, becoming a beast and doing his workouts. So, he actually revealed the information of what it was. Rich ran a 60-second 400-meter, which is pretty darn fast. He's a 195 guy.
Yeah. He
has a whole bunch of muscle. You know, he can clean and jerk like 375 or something.
Right.
But, like, that's really good. So then, like, his mile time was a 6-minute flat, which also in my mind I thought that was
Fairly
pretty good.
respectable.
But
Really
he does
fast
like this.
mile?
He does like this ratio. So he's like, if you times 2 the distance, like if you're an aerobic athlete, usually you should only decrease. I believe it was around like 12%. So like you still need to be anaerobic in order to be fast enough on the sprints, but like you need to be able to sustain those pace. So I don't know how he came up with that formula, but like, yeah. So Rich had like a 28, which was like the worst score he'd ever seen. So like Rich has been really working that hard, and like if you look on Instagram, he has a lot of really cool stuff there. So
Running isn't necessarily one of Rich's strong points in general.
No,
It
he was
might be now.
I think he was a baseball player.
Oh,
They don't run.
very short distance.
a cool little plug. Chris Hinshaw can do individual programming for you, but you can also just go onto Google and type in Team NC Endurance, and you literally can just get free programming that Team NC Endurance does every single day.
Nice.
So like,
That's CrossFit NorCal.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
So doing that, like in the morning, let's say like before your work or that kind of thing, and then like 4 hours of like
At least 4 hours?
at least 4 hours is ideal. But I mean, if it's not 4 hours, you know, it happens. At least Space was out 4 hours, and like he's all about aerobic capacity. And, you know, it goes back to that article that I was talking about with Poliquin. Like he says you should do like sprints and that kind of stuff in that CrossFit workout, which basically you guys kind of
Right.
do, like with the conjugate system and accessory work and that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But that's my jogging illusion explanation.
Yeah, and if you want more stuff on that, definitely check out Hinshaw. but also check out anything by Brian McKenzie. He's been talking a ton about this stuff daily, and he is an absolute genius. Like knowledge bombs left and right.
Yeah, like brain exploding. That's what those knowledge bombs do. Your brain, it explodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you can't even handle it.
So you got a note in here about pregnenolone.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that relate to all of your stuff?
So this is something I learned from Superhuman Network. Pregnenolone is a hormone. It's like there's a whole bunch of precursors that happen to the hormone cortisol, and pregnenolone, unfortunately, can be one of those. So pregnenolone can either go – it's called the pregnenolone steal, and it's actually something that happens a little bit more to girls than it does guys.
Yep.
So pregnenolone steal, basically the pregnenolone can go towards either cortisol, which is like a stress hormone. You're not going to recover as well. You're going to be more sore, that kind of thing. Sympathetically overtrained. But then if that pregnenolone is going towards being an anabolic person, I don't exactly know what other hormones those are, but like basically it comes down to like stress level. So like if you're sympathetically overtrained, that pregnenolone steal is really going to happen. Like you're going to see increased fat. You're going to see a lot of the maleffects that people talk about with overtraining.
Yes.
And whenever it comes down to it, like it's not necessarily overtraining, even though maybe it could. Like a lot of it's just under recovering. Like you're not like you need to do those cool down things. You need to walk. You need to not be sedentary, because if you're sedentary throughout the rest of the day and you only work out for an hour, there have been studies that have been shown that literally the person who's a blue collar and he works for 8 hours, this guy is going to be healthier and he's going to live longer than you, just because you only work out for 1 hour, because you're not active throughout the rest of the day. So like, I know I'm getting a little bit of a tangent. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's totally
No, that's
fine.
totally cool. And
So,
I'm
like,
nodding my head in agreement because I know exactly what you're talking about,
Yeah.
and I totally read the same study.
Well, and the stuff you're talking about under recovering, overtraining, the pregnenolone steal, like that's all stuff that I made all these mistakes when I was really competing hard in CrossFit. And if I wouldn't have made these mistakes, it would have bought me another 2 to 5 years competing, rather than having to take 2 to 3 years off completely of everything.
So a little bit of a sciencey breakdown of like why you need to stay active throughout the day is like there's a hormone, it's called LDL, low density lipoprotein.
Yep.
And it's in your leg muscles. I mean most of it's in your leg muscles because those are your biggest body parts, but the more you flex those muscles, the more those are going to be expelled, and it's going to go towards good things for your body instead of making you fatter. So
Good,
like,
I flex my quads all
yes,
day.
literally.
Check this out. Check
We
this
weren't
out.
designed to sit
not looking.
on our rears.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, quad shot.
Yeah.
We weren't designed to sit on our rears. We were designed to move.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
from a
when
I
was the
guess
chair
an
invented?
evolutionary standpoint,
Yeah.
Well, who needs a chair? Just get down into your squat. Come on,
can't.
guys.
My ankles don't move.
Oh,
K-Star would be proud.
yeah.
Yep.
I like
Not
the
of-
squat
Not
position.
of me.
That's how children play,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we weren't designed. So that all makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So keep on with it. Go.
So then, like, basically just the pregnenolone steal. So, like, a common example is, like, a lot of girls have this because it unfortunately affects them a little bit more. So you can see fat gain, and you can just feel beat up. Like, you can just feel, like, really beat. So, like, ways to combat that would be, like, these recovery tips that I'm saying. But, like, other ones, like meditation. So, like, basically being sympathetically overtrained, you can look into that. And, like, you can find some quality information out there for free. But basically, like, stuff like meditation or, like, prayer or that kind of stuff, like, or just basically, like, recharging your batteries and, like, having fun and being optimistic is, like, I don't know if that was too loud, the motorcycle.
There are some motorcycles going by. It's all right. It's all right.
But basically, it just comes down to, like, really just stress. Because stress, whether it's in the gym or if it's, like, in your lifestyle, like,
Yep.
with your wife, your kids.
Your job, your
Pointing towards him.
occupation.
Yeah,
No,
right.
I
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
pointing to my husband.
Yeah.
I'm pointing to him because their occupation and a lot of other people have high stress occupations, and right then, I mean, that is overtraining.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it just goes back to being able to downregulate. So sympathetic, parasympathetic. If you train really hard, you need to bring it back down. And if you're in a job where you're going to be all day up and down, fight or flight, you have to have a way to decompress and to get back down and to downregulate everything. And one thing that we've been talking about, not just smashing out and doing soft tissue work, but doing gut smashing and really getting to that
Good.
Jill Miller stuff.
Yeah.
And I did that for one night. I was having all kinds of trouble
gosh.
sleeping. I did it for one night, and I was like, I'm going to try this. And I was out like
He
a
fell
rock.
asleep on the ball.
Yeah,
I was
on the
like,
ball.
hello, are you
Like,
awake?
Gone.
Okay, so
Yeah.
explain what you have to do. It's just a kickball, right?
Yeah, it's basically it can be any ball.
Softball size.
The softball size works a little bit better, but it doesn't have to be aggressive. You just basically find anywhere in your gut and your abs,
below your rib cage.
Below your rib cage.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, ribs. We like to keep those intact.
Yeah, and you're just laying on it and breathing into it. So you focus on like connecting with the floor almost, and just take really deep. I'm going to bounce this word up. Diaphragmatic. Did I say it right?
Yeah, that was beautiful.
One shot.
Good job.
Really deep breaths, and man, that just calms everything down. And it doesn't have to be painful. It doesn't have to be aggressive. It's just nice and calming.
Well, even like an infant, just take my little bit of expertise in here. Even an infant, you got a fussy infant. What do we do to him? I massage his belly, or you lay them over your lap. So it's kind of the same idea.
It induces that parasympathetic nervous
system. It really does. You put them face down.
Yep.
You can I get a little knee gut smashing going on the little JP guy over here, and he can calm down pretty quick. You wonder, or the football hold.
Yeah. And that's a big thing as CrossFit. Well, as everybody wants to be really hardcore. But we always forget that part of it. And I've been reading Mark Devine's Unbeatable Mind.
Yeah.
And he talks a lot about meditative states. But it doesn't have to be anything like super Eastern philosophy. It's basically just focusing your mind to be in the moment. And then that really takes things down because you're not worried about anything.
Yeah. You could download apps like Headspace or Calm. That worked for me just because I have an Android.
Maybe Headspace is that one?
Or
maybe
he's an investor.
Someone.
Yeah. But then I can't find that stat, but basically it did show that like stress in your life at home really does affect you just as much as it does in the gym.
Yes.
But then like the prescription for that Jim Miller stuff is like 3 seconds of inhalation like while you're on that ball, and then like 10 seconds of really just expelling into that and breathing into that. And like that will also, like, another thing that people don't realize is like that will make you that much better at like your front squat because you can activate those muscles.
Yep. And then if you work down lower to the lower abs too, that's going to open up that psoas and all those connective tissues, so you can have so much more range of motion when you go to deadlift or squat. Absolutely, for sure.
The heathens are getting restless.
Yeah. Last thing about ball smashing, but think about how many times your abs have been sore, and then how many times you've stretched your abs. Like when your hamstrings get sore, you stretch your hamstrings.
Yeah.
But when your abs get sore, how do you stretch those? Nobody ever does it.
Or so you don't want to do it.
Right. So you need to be able to do something to help that muscle group recover.
Yeah. For sure. Like literally 2 days ago, I think Brian McKenzie had that, like, a status on it, like on what you should do. So like it's getting out there.
Bam.
Yep.
Great minds.
Oh yeah. This is like Nerd Geek Out session, by the way.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
Yeah. Maybe this won't get so many listens because there's no alcohol and no swearing. I've heard one swear word. Okay.
Just one.
Just one.
We have to mark it explicit.
Oh, got it.
So we may as well drop another one here before we leave. All right. Well, I think that about. You got anything else you want to talk about?
I do have one thing that I would like to plug. So, ladies, I wrote an article for Ben Greenfield. It's on his site, Ben Greenfield Fitness. If you were to type in working out with menstruation, Ben Greenfield, if you type that in, you'll find it. And it's just a pretty deep, superhuman article talking about like some of the tips that I would give. Like I didn't know very much about it heading into it, other than the stuff that I learned from Superhuman. But then like I learned stuff from like T-Nation. I asked other girls,
ladies.
And I dug in some research. So
yeah, and
so
I
check
think it's
that
a great thing to bring up.
That's very important.
It's very important, and I have this conversation quite often with our ladies, and they're like, they get bent out of shape. Like, well, I could lift this last week or something like that. I'm like, okay, let's talk about this. Where are you in your cycle? And it's always like, oh, well, and they'll tell me, and I'm like, okay, go away. We're not, next time, ask yourself that question. And there's better times throughout your cycle as a woman to do more endurance-based workouts, and there's better times to do maybe more strength-based workouts. Once you kind of figure that out, it makes your training a lot easier. And then maybe if the workout program says endurance and you're in more of a strength building phase or something like that, you can maybe just get less pissed off about it because there's a reason, or I have a lot of ladies too come to me, oh my gosh, I gained 3 pounds. It's like, okay, once again, let me ask you the question, ladies. Yeah.
Yep.
So be aware, it's not just this benign, annoying thing that happens. It it really does dictate a lot for us as far as
it's
our training
hormone
goes.
fluctuation.
It's hormones,
and
yeah.
guys have that too. Guys have a hormone cycle. It's just not near as drastic.
It's a little more subtle. And we have to remember too, something I learned a few years ago is a lot of us can be much more sensitive to the fluctuation in hormones, even men, men and women. Yeah. So maybe what I'm sensitive to, the same fluctuation in another woman, she may have no idea. It may not affect her at all, but like I may turn into a raving lunatic.
Maybe.
Maybe? I don't know. So don't discount that stuff. I love that, Austin. Ladies, go read that article.
We'll post a link to it too.
Yeah, so basically if you want to contact me, you could either go through Anthony, or you could like email me at austin_whistler@hotmail.com, or you could reach out to me on Instagram, just Austin Whisler, WHISLER. But other than that, those are my tips on like how to be superhuman. So if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments, and make sure I give like a good review and that kind of stuff. Tell your friends.
That's super important.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right.
Spectacular, guys.
Well, thanks again, man. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Nerd geek out.
Thanks.
All right. See you guys next time.